when the noise of the world fades and the night stretches its quiet wings across the sky, something inside you changes. The masks you wore through the day begin to slip away. The truth you avoided starts to whisper again. The night is not just darkness, it's a mirror that shows you what daylight hides. This is the hour of the Stoic, the sacred time when the soul finally speaks without interruption. When everything outside goes silent, everything inside becomes louder, and that's where the real work begins. People spend their days running from thoughts, from pain, from silence. They drown themselves in distractions, screens, and noise. But when the night comes, there is no escape. The Stoic doesn't fear this silence. He walks into it. He knows the night isn't an enemy, it's a teacher. It strips away illusions and forces you to face yourself. In this stillness, you meet the truth of who you are, not who you pretend to be. And though it can be uncomfortable, it's here that your soul begins to recharge. Not through pleasure, not through comfort, but through awareness. Every Stoic understood the sacred rhythm of night and day. Marcus Aurelius would reflect each evening on his actions, not to punish himself, but to realign. Seneca would write letters to his friends, reminding them that the day must end with examination, because a day lived without reflection is a day half-lived. Epictetus taught that peace doesn't come from avoiding the world, but from mastering your response to it, and that mastery grows strongest when the world grows quiet. The night is the furnace where discipline is reforged, where the spirit cools after the heat of human struggle. You can lie under the same sky as the emperors and philosophers who once lived, and know that their stars are your stars. The same darkness that surrounded them surrounds you. And just like them, you too can choose how to spend your night, not as a prisoner of regret, but as a student of truth. Ask yourself, when the day ends, what remains? When everything you chased, feared, or desired disappears into shadow, what stays with you? The Stoics believed that what remains in that silence is your essence, your soul, untouched by circumstance. That's why they trained themselves to be still, to listen, to accept. The night teaches one of the hardest lessons. You cannot carry everything with you. You must learn to let go. The weight of the day is not meant to sleep beside you. Leave it at the door of your mind. The argument you had, the mistake you made, the opportunity you lost, release them. You cannot rewrite what has already been written. The Stoic understands that peace begins with surrender, not struggle. Each night you get a chance to lay down the burdens of control. Let the universe do its work. You have done yours. Now breathe. The beauty of the night is that it invites gratitude, but only if you slow down long enough to notice it. Look around you, the quiet hum of life, the cool air, the soft shadows, the beating of your heart still strong after another day. Gratitude is not about counting blessings. It's about realizing that you are still here. The Stoic heart is grateful not for comfort, but for existence itself. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring your pain. It means understanding that even pain has its place in your growth. The night reminds you of that truth, that every challenge today was a lesson preparing you for tomorrow. When you begin to see the night this way, it stops being a void and becomes a sanctuary. You no longer fight the darkness, you rest in it. You no longer run from silence, you listen to it. This is the transformation the Stoic seeks, from reaction to reflection, from fear to calm, from exhaustion to awareness. Because what truly recharges the soul is not escape but understanding. The moment you stop resisting your own thoughts, you begin to find peace among them. Sometimes, you'll lie awake and your mind will wander back through the day, your words, your choices, your regrets. Don't silence those memories. Observe them. Watch them drift like clouds across the night sky. They're not meant to define you, only to guide you. Every thought is a signal, every feeling a teacher. You are not your mistakes nor your triumphs. You are the observer behind them, the consciousness that remains, even when everything else fades. That is your true power. That is your soul learning how to rest. And as the hours move deeper into night, something happens. The same silence that once felt heavy now feels sacred. Your breath slows, your heart eases, and your mind settles into truth. You realize that the world will spin on without your control, that tomorrow will come whether you worry or not. This realization is freedom. The Stoic knows that peace isn't earned, it's remembered. It's always been inside you, buried beneath fear and noise. The night simply reminds you to return to it. So as you close your eyes, understand that this stillness is not emptiness, it's energy returning to you. Every quiet breath rebuilds your strength. Every release of thought clears your spirit. The Stoic doesn't see night as the end of the day. He sees it as the beginning of wisdom, because only when the world goes dark can the inner light truly be seen. And that light, your calm, your awareness, your gratitude is what recharges your soul. There's a calmness that comes when you finally accept that life doesn't always owe you clarity. Some things end without reason. Some people leave without closure. Some chapters close without warning. And that's okay. The Stoic accepts not because he's emotionless, but because he trusts that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. The night reminds you of this through its silence. After every sunset, the stars still appear. After every loss, something beautiful remains if you're still enough to see it. Acceptance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying. You stop carrying anger for what you can't change. You stop carrying guilt for being human. You stop carrying pain for things that no longer exist. You learn to release not out of apathy but out of wisdom. The Stoic doesn't numb himself. He liberates himself, because true strength is not in holding on, it's in letting go gracefully. And as the night deepens, this lesson begins to sink into your bones. You start to feel the tension in your chest soften. The weight of the day starts to fall away. You realize how heavy it was. The expectations, the judgments, the noise. Now in this stillness, you can finally breathe again. That breath is your return to the present. Acceptance is the bridge between what was and what is. It doesn't erase your past. It reconciles you with it. It teaches you to live with peace, not perfection. The Stoic doesn't chase a flawless day. He builds a calm night. And that calm is born from the courage to say, yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. But it no longer controls me. You can close your eyes tonight, knowing that life did not break you. It trained you. Every event, pleasant or painful, shaped the character standing here now. That realization alone is enough to bring gratitude even for the hardest days. So as you lie beneath the ceiling of silence, remember this truth. Acceptance is not surrender. It's alignment. You're not giving up your power. You're returning it to where it belongs, within yourself. The night doesn't ask you to fix the past. It simply invites you to make peace with it. That is how the Stoic soul begins to recharge, not by running, not by controlling, but by accepting that everything that was meant to happen already has. The rest will unfold exactly as it should. And as you whisper your final thought before sleep, let it be this: I accept the day, I accept myself, and I trust tomorrow. Then, in that quiet surrender, feel your spirit grow lighter. Because peace doesn't come when life becomes easy. Peace comes when you finally stop fighting what is. The second lesson of the night is gratitude. The Stoic sees gratitude not as a mood, but as a discipline, a deliberate act of returning to what is real. It's easy to be thankful when life is kind, but true gratitude begins when life is heavy. The night teaches this truth because it strips you of everything that distracts you from it. The noise fades, the faces disappear. The world goes still and you're left with only yourself. That's when gratitude becomes powerful. It's not about what you have, it's about what remains when everything else is gone. The Stoic doesn't wait for perfection to feel thankful. He knows that gratitude is not found in external comfort. It is born from inner clarity. As you sit in darkness, think of what's still within you. The breath in your lungs, the heartbeat that carries you, the mind that still seeks truth, the soul that has survived every storm so far. Gratitude begins there, in the awareness that despite the chaos of life, you are still here. You've endured every hardship that once made you doubt your strength. You've stood through every loss that once felt unbearable. You've outlasted everything that tried to break you. That realization alone is sacred. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself nightly to be thankful for existence itself, for the chance to think, to breathe, to act according to reason. Seneca wrote that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but gratitude that makes us happy. The Stoic's gratitude isn't loud. It doesn't demand or compare. It's quiet, humble, and profound. It looks at life as it is, without asking for more, and says, this is enough, because the soul that can say this is, enough is already rich beyond measure. When you start to see life this way, even the smallest details begin to glow. The way the moonlight touches the edge of your window, the rhythm of your own breath, the warmth of your body against the cool air. These things seem ordinary, but to the Stoic, they are reminders of how much beauty hides in simplicity. The night doesn't offer luxury, but it offers something deeper: stillness. And in stillness, gratitude blooms naturally. You begin to see how much you take for granted, how much peace you overlook while chasing illusions of more. Gratitude is not about ignoring pain. It's about recognizing meaning within it. The Stoic does not pretend that life is easy. He simply chooses to see value in what life brings. Even pain has purpose. Even loss has wisdom. Every moment, no matter how dark, adds something to your character if you let it. When the night comes and you look back at your day, you can either curse what went wrong or give thanks for the lessons hidden inside it. The Stoic chooses the latter because he knows that gratitude doesn't erase suffering. It transforms it. It turns wounds into wisdom and fear into faith. As you lie beneath the quiet sky, let your thoughts wander through your day. But this time, instead of focusing on what hurt you, look for what helped you. The small kindnesses, the moments of laughter, the things that didn't go your way but taught you patience. Gratitude trains the mind to see truth beyond discomfort. It reminds you that life is never as empty as it seems. Even on the hardest days, there's always something to be thankful for. Sometimes it's not a thing at all. It's just the strength to keep going. Gratitude to the Stoic is a form of resistance. It's how the wise rebel against despair. When the world tells you to want more, gratitude whispers, you already have enough. When your mind wants to focus on what went wrong, gratitude gently shifts your gaze toward what went right. It's the art of redirecting energy, from complaint to appreciation, from scarcity to abundance, and this redirection changes everything. A grateful soul cannot be easily shaken, because it no longer depends on external things to feel whole. Seneca once said that the wise man is content with what he has, even if it's little, because he measures wealth not by possessions but by peace of mind. The Stoic understands that gratitude and peace are twin forces. They grow together or die together. You cannot have inner calm while being ungrateful, and you cannot truly be grateful while being restless for more. The night helps you see this balance clearly. It asks nothing of you but presence. You realize that you don't need more light to see. You just need to open your eyes in the dark. Sometimes you'll struggle to find reasons to be thankful. That's okay. The Stoic knows that gratitude is a practice, not a feeling. Some nights you'll feel it deeply. Other nights you'll have to create it through reflection. Even the act of trying is an act of strength. Because to search for gratitude in pain is to prove that your spirit refuses to surrender. So before you close your eyes, take a single breath and let your mind rest on one thing. One simple, undeniable truth you can be thankful for. Maybe it's the chance to try again tomorrow. Maybe it's the lessons today gave you. Maybe it's the peace of this moment right now. Knowing you survived another day. Hold that thought like a small flame in your chest. That is your Stoic gratitude. It doesn't need words, it doesn't need proof, it simply exists. Quiet and steady beneath everything else. And when you wake again, that same flame will still be there. Because gratitude, once planted in the night, grows into strength in the morning. It recharges your soul not by adding more to your life, but by reminding you that what you already have is sacred. That's the secret the Stoic learns each night. That even in the darkness, there is always something to be thankful for, and that awareness alone is enough to light an entire world within you. Each night is a small rehearsal for death, and the Stoic embraces that. He doesn't fear it. He uses it as a teacher. He reminds himself that one day, everything he holds will return to the earth. So why cling? Why fight the natural rhythm of existence? The leaves fall, the tide recedes, the stars fade at dawn, and yet the universe remains beautiful. The Stoic learns from this rhythm. He realizes that letting go does not mean losing. It means aligning with truth. The soul grows lighter each time it releases what it cannot keep. You may think detachment sounds empty, but in truth, it is fullness without dependency. It's the quiet joy of knowing that your peace no longer relies on circumstances. When you no longer need the world to be perfect to feel content, you become unstoppable. The Stoic night is where this inner liberation begins. In the darkness, there is nothing left to hold except awareness itself. You start to see that the mind's constant grasping, the desire to hold, to control, to own, is the very source of exhaustion. Detachment then becomes the medicine that heals the spirit. Sit in silence tonight and feel the world slow down. The noise of the day fades like smoke. The faces of those you met drift through memory, then vanish. Even your own thoughts begin to quiet. What's left is you, unattached, unburdened, awake. You begin to realize that you never needed to cling to anything at all. Everything that truly belongs to you, your wisdom, your virtue, your calm, cannot be taken. Everything else was always temporary. That understanding is peace. That peace is power. Seneca said that the man who has learned to let go has learned to live. Detachment gives you that kind of freedom. You stop demanding that life should always go your way. You stop depending on others for your worth. You stop fearing loss. Because you understand that nothing real can ever be lost, it only transforms. The Stoic knows that death, endings, and change are not enemies. They are the sculptors of strength. They carve away illusions until your true nature stands clear. As you close your eyes tonight, practice this detachment. Imagine releasing every thought that clings to you, every worry, every desire, every name, every memory. Let them all drift into the darkness. They have served their purpose for the day. Now let them rest. You are not abandoning your life, you're returning to yourself. Because beneath all your attachments lies a deeper stillness, a peace untouched by gain or loss. That is your soul's natural state. And when morning comes, you'll wake not as someone chasing control, but as someone free. That's what the Stoic night teaches you, that detachment is not the absence of care, but the presence of calm. When you stop trying to possess the world can finally move through you, and in that quiet surrender, your soul finds its strength again. The night doesn't take anything from you, it simply reminds you that you never needed to hold so tightly. When the world falls asleep and silence becomes your only companion, the Stoic turns inward. This is the hour of reflection. The mind is tired, the body is heavy, but the soul is awake. Reflection is not about judgment, it's about truth. It's the quiet act of meeting yourself without armor. The Stoic doesn't fear this meeting. He seeks it. He knows that wisdom is born not from comfort, but from clarity. The night becomes his mirror, and in its still surface, he sees his own soul, unfiltered, unmasked, honest. Seneca wrote that every night before sleep, a man should examine his conscience. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and measure my deeds, and this wasn't ritual, it was medicine. The Stoic understood that a day unexamined is a day repeated. Reflection turns experience into understanding, and understanding into transformation. Without reflection, we live the same patterns again and again, mistaking movement for progress. The Stoic breaks this cycle by daring to look inward. He asks himself simple but sharp questions. What did I do today that aligned with my principles? Where did I fall short? What emotion controlled me? What wisdom did I ignore? These are not accusations, they are instruments of growth. The Stoic reflects not to punish himself, but to improve himself. Because the point of reflection is not to feel shame, but to create awareness. And awareness, once awakened, becomes impossible to silence. The night gives him this sacred space, a space where truth is no longer hidden by the noise of the day. Reflection is a dialogue with your higher self. It's where the surface self, the one that reacts, struggles, pretends, meets the inner self that simply observes. The Stoic listens to both, but aligns with neither. He listens to learn. He examines his fears, not to feed them, but to understand their origin. He revisits his anger, not to justify it, but to see what triggered it. He remembers his words, not to rewrite them, but to learn how they shaped others. Reflection turns the chaos of the day into the calm of understanding. It reorders the soul. The night gives you honesty that daylight cannot. When the world is quiet, there's no one left to impress. No mask to hold up, no noise to drown your thoughts. You can't lie to yourself in the silence. The Stoic uses that silence like a sculptor uses his chisel. Each honest thought chips away at the unnecessary until only truth remains. You begin to see your patterns clearly. You see how often you speak when silence would serve better, how often you react when patience would protect you, how often you seek control when surrender would bring peace. This process isn't easy. Reflection exposes the rawness of being human, the contradictions, the failures, the fears. But the Stoic embraces this discomfort. He knows that self-honesty is the highest form of courage. To look at your flaws without self-hatred is mastery. To admit your mistakes without collapsing into guilt is strength. The Stoic doesn't need to be perfect. He just needs to be aware. Awareness is what separates wisdom from ignorance, peace from turmoil, growth from stagnation. Each night is an opportunity to die to the version of yourself that no longer serves you. The Stoic doesn't carry his old self into tomorrow. He lets it go through reflection. He observes where he acted out of ego, and decides to act with humility next time. He notices where impatience ruled him, and resolves to move slower next time. This is how change truly happens, not through sudden enlightenment, but through steady awareness, repeated every night until it becomes character. As you sit in the quiet of your own room, try this ancient practice. Don't scroll. Don't distract. Just breathe. Close your eyes and replay your day slowly. See the faces, the words, the emotions. Watch them without judgment. Ask yourself, where was I strong? Where was I weak? What would my wiser self have done differently? You'll feel resistance at first. The ego doesn't like to be examined. But stay with it. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, and through those patterns, you'll discover truth. The Stoic believes reflection is the bridge between experience and wisdom. Every night, he crosses that bridge. He leaves behind the confusion of the day and steps into understanding, and with each crossing, he becomes lighter, calmer, more in control of himself. Reflection doesn't erase mistakes. It redeems them. It turns failure into direction. It turns pain into insight. That is why the Stoic ends each day not with regret, but with gratitude for every error that taught him, for every struggle that shaped him. You see, the night isn't just for rest, it's for renewal. The Stoic doesn't fall asleep to escape the day. He falls asleep knowing he's learned from it. That's what gives his rest meaning. His peace isn't built on ignorance, it's built on understanding. Because when you know yourself, you no longer fear yourself. And when you no longer fear yourself, the world loses its power over you. So as the darkness deepens around you, don't run from your thoughts. Invite them. Let them speak. Listen not to criticize, but to comprehend. Let the lessons of the day sink into the quiet corners of your mind. This is where strength grows, in reflection, in awareness, and truth. When you wake, you'll rise with a lighter soul and a clearer mind. That's how the Stoic lives, dying to his errors each night and being reborn in clarity each dawn.